This is from Mother Jones. They saw the film, and they write, none of the alleged victims in police state are innocent people like George Floyd or Breonna Taylor, who literally died at the hands of overzealous cops. Instead, they're anti-abortion activists who were arrested for harassing patients at abortion clinics, or people who were busted as part of the investigation into the January 6th insurrection. And then there's Fairfax, Virginia schools activist Stacey Langton, who has spent the better part of the last year trying to get books banned from public school libraries. Book banning is often a hallmark of authoritarian police states. But D'Souza uses her story to claim that the FBI was tracking moms like her who have been speaking out at school board meetings about groomers.
Well, let's look at the Stacey Langton for just a minute. If a parent is calling for, let's just say, these books are inappropriate, they're pornographic, they shouldn't be in the library, that is not, in fact, a police state tactic. Why? Because the definition of a police state is something that is done by the government. So if you or I are calling for this or calling for that, we're not part of a police state. We're ordinary citizens speaking out. Now, when they talk about these pro-life guys, we profile one of them, a guy named Mark Houck, who lives in Pennsylvania. He's a dad. He takes his 12-year-old kid, and they go to an abortion clinic. And sure enough, they're activists. They want to talk to women. Don't go in there. It's not a good idea. You're doing the wrong thing. Come talk to us, blah, blah, blah. But in this particular occasion, there's no one there. The Planned Parenthood counselor comes out of the building, comes up to Mark Houck's son, and starts screaming at the kid. And basically goes, your dad's evil, your dad's against women. So Mark Houck kind of gets agitated, and he pushes the guy, right? The guy falls back, and then he runs in the building. He files a kind of assault claim against Mark Houck. It goes to court. It's thrown out. No merit to it. 2 months later, massive raid by the FBI. And they accuse Mark Houck of, quote, violating the FACE Act. And the FACE Act says you can interfere with reproductive abilities. But now, was Mark Houck interposing himself, blocking women from getting? No. This was an argument between two guys outside the clinic, no women involved, no one's going inside. He wasn't, in fact, violating the FACE Act. And how do we know that? He goes before a jury in Blue, Philadelphia. The jury looks at it, 2 charges. He's facing 11 years in prison. Think about it. The U.S. government wants to lock this guy up for 11 years for pushing a guy. He goes before the jury. They take 1 hour, acquitted on all charges. So this is what I mean by case upon case upon case. It's happening far too often. So no, this is not just about, I'm not talking about people who got into fights with the cops on January 6th. That's not what this movie's about.
And what do you say about those people who got in fights with cops and who went inside the Capitol on January 6th? Are they guilty?
Well, I think that anybody who got into a violent clash with the cops should be prosecuted for that. The issue for me there is also proportionality. I mean, look, as you know, there's violent clashes that are occurring right now, occurred last night at the DNC. We had people in the Cannon building. I think what really worries me is that when I look at Jamal Bowman pulling the fire extinguisher, when I look at all those Palestine protesters in the Cannon building, I don't see any fear in their eyes. It never crosses their mind, I'm going to be arrested, I'm going to be locked up, I'll be in solitary confinement, it's going to be 4 to 6 months before my trial, I could get 3 years in prison. It doesn't cross their mind because they know that in that sense they're above the law.